welcome to What the Blank Entertainment's How the Blank, where we talk about how the entertainment, how the life, and how we got here. We're going to have so much fun. We have a special guest today with Carter, and this is how
The Castel Cabaret.
Now here is our entertainment news of the week by Brandon.
This year, 2024, out of all the horror movies that have released, A Quiet Place Day One is the highest grossing, reaching over $138 million at box office. Following runner-up was Alien Romulus. I hope I'm saying that right.
Romulus. Yeah, Romulus.
Alien Romulus came in second place, followed by Longlegs, and number 4 was The Strangers Chapter 1.
Oh, interesting. I want to see those movies. I feel so bad. Like, I have not been able to see any horror movies this year, and I want to see them so bad. Like, I hear Alien Romulus was great.
I saw A Quiet Place Day One, and it was pretty good. I don't know. I don't like the whole silentness that like goes into it. Like that's a cool video game aspect for me, but I don't like it in movies.
Oh, really? So, A Quiet Place is my like new favorite type of horror genre. Like that has become like one of my favorites, but I think it's because of the connection, right? You know me with the Kim project, right? Like connection's my baby. I love like seeing the connection between two actors with no words. Like that I feel like that's what creates a good actor, right? Is being able to come on stage and be able to act a whole scene without speaking is incredible. We have some news with What the Blank. So here is a segment, What the Blank News. We were able to go to Castle of Chaos on their media night. It's such a great time. Thanks to Carter for inviting us, and we had a blast seeing his show and going through the haunt and seeing all the things that were new this year. It was so awesome. What was your favorite part of media night, Carter?
Yeah, honestly, just like we had more media night than last year, which was great, especially for our new stage show because we did the same thing last year, but we were more on a mat instead of actually having an actual stage. So it was great just to see everybody's reaction, being like, "Oh wow, there's an actual stage," instead of just nothing there except just a mat and like a few fences behind us. So it was really fun to see everybody's reactions, and especially when Jason Voorhees came out and rocked out for everybody. So I think everybody really enjoyed that part, including myself.
Yeah.
I still love it every single night. It's great. So yeah.
He really shreds that guitar. He's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was a really great opportunity for What the Blank. We were able to enjoy a lot of the food. The food was amazing. And just the ability to go through and really it was quite fun having the actors act to the camera because it's so different than being there in person because they act to you, and so their connection is like a little bit off, but in a good way because they're just trying to like show off for the camera, and I feel like I got better scares that way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so now we can move on to the rest of the topic for the episode. We're going to talk about you, Carter, and all the stuff that you do and how you have been entrepreneur in Utah for the past 5 years, right?
3 years. Started
3 years.
started at Shadows of Fear in 2023. Yeah, when I did the first Frontline show. It was that 2023 when you guys came.
It was 2022.
22.
2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. 2022. It doesn't seem like a long time, but for me, it seems like a very long time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy how much the Frontline show has evolved from then to now, to a palette stage, to a mat, to an actual like somewhat good looking stage. It's crazy. And yeah, like I said, I mean, as before, um what I said in 2022 till now, I still love doing the thing. I still love entertaining people, and I feel like this whole Frontline show thing is gonna still go far. It's gonna really attract people, and other haunted houses are gonna be like, oh man, I want to do that. Like that's like a good idea. And I'm like, I started it. So
I remember the nostalgia of it. Was one of our first YouTube videos, the interview we did with him in 2022, and it was the first promo video we had done for an artist spotlight. Carter was our very first one that we had done out of what is now dozens, but it was our very first. So it's kind of like a nostalgic grow up from that point in time. If everybody has followed us on our social media, I think he was like one of our very first social media posts. And the first video that I had edited long before we started doing video services for the public. And I remember doing it on Canva, which is not meant for video editing, but it was my first attempt at it. And I actually still very proud of that video.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have evolved in 3 years, because I feel like um especially the show has evolved, but I think you have also evolved as a person, right? I feel like it's gotten to a point where it's more about the entertainment than about the scare factor. Why do you think you made that change, right? From scare in the front lines to trying to just entertain in the front lines?
I gotta let you know, like it was a scary transition for me to switch from what we did, 2 years ago, to this whole different like variety show of entertainment. I mean, you have like a little bit scary. You have like Megan, right? For the dance that we did
Mm-hmm.
this year. It was because of the team that I had at first when we met for rehearsals in February, actually, of this year. We decided to go with the Helheim, like Viking rock feel, and kind of make it dark and scary. But then as we evolved, some people left our group, and then it ended up just being like, we have a Captain Jack Sparrow, we have Jeremiah and myself, we have a few other people, and we decided like, hey, like, the new movies are coming out, Beetlejuice and Deadpool and Wolverine, might as well do iconic characters. And I got to tell you, it's worked. You do something big like that, and people are, um, and it's just crazy. It's nice just to see everybody smile and be like, "Oh man, that's Deadpool and Wolverine up there." That's Beetlejuice, and just seeing their smiles and noticing, all right, this whole different variety acting can work, where it's just entertainment. It doesn't have to be scary because they're already going through the haunted house, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
come back out and watch something fun, be involved in something else. And last night, I'd apologize. I'm very tired from last night because we'd had our pirate night, and it was a pretty long night. And I got to tell you, with Captain Jack and Elizabeth, and how they set up the stage was just awesome. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's Captain Jack," and they came up and took pictures with them on the stage, and it was a really cool vibe. It was just the whole like 180, and just seeing that evolve and actually happening is just amazing. And seeing people's reactions to it is great.
Yeah.
So
What?
yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts was actually in Red Pool, where we're like interacting with one of the guys in the wheelchair and having him give a lap dance to to the guy in the wheelchair was so fun. Video too. So we'll probably put it in here, but it was so much fun to have like the interaction you'd never see in the movies, or interactions that you'd never see at any other haunt or any other experience, right? Um, because to be honest, Wolverine's not a scary character, but it's so much fun to like see that at a haunted house because it's recognizable. What made you decide to start doing a frontline show?
I've been a haunt actor since I've been 15, and I started at the haunted forest and kind of worked my way up to the front lines. And when I ended up getting into the front lines, that's when I realized, all right, like just kind of watching people and how they react to different characters, and it was a lot of just like studying that part of like the haunt industry and how people react to different things. And sure, you have like a cool animatronic show and everything, and it doesn't matter like what kind of character you can be out front. People are like excited to see you, and then eventually they just get bored, right? Because it's the same thing. And if you add new characters, they're like, oh, that's so cool, but then they just go right back to talking to each other in line, or texting, and you're just like, hey, I'm here. And so I thought, it's a big jump, first of all. And the fact that when I talked to Scott and John about it, I was nervous because it's a hard thing to do, starting an idea up, right? You get a little nervous. You're like, oh, what can go wrong or what can go right? And, I was just like, you know what? I've done this for a long time. And, I talked to him and said, like, I want it to be interactive and different and immersive, and have people, be immersed in that world of whatever I'm bringing to the show. And so, I don't know. I just really wanted to entertain people in a different kind of way. And like I said before, it's really shooting off, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next few years with this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
what was the process like starting, like from the very beginning, like writing your own script, coming up with characters you wanted to take or create yourself, and actually getting the idea out there to test? What was like the beginning scraps that you came up with and how it developed over time?
Yep, it was all YouTube. Just figuring out, what I wanted to do. I actually took a lot of inspiration from Halloween Horror Nights. I don't know if you ever been. Jack the Clown.
mm,
He did like the Carnival of Carnage. So I kind of took inspiration from that a little bit, and created my own thing. And I hate clowns personally. I suck at doing a clown as an actor, and I just hate clowns in general. They still creep me out. But I thought, I'll use that, towards my advantage of, bringing that to the show. So that's when I came up with Carnival of Souls. And it was just a lot of like, looking at different songs on YouTube, and, making sure I didn't use any like copyrighted songs. I mean, but it was still kind of hard, because again, starting out, and there was really no script. It was just all in my head of like, all right, this is what I want. This is how I see it. Let's just try it out, And then with rehearsals and everything, that was fun. It was trying to just get everything organized of what I see and try to get everybody to see what I'm seeing. So I'm like, all right, so this is how you're gonna enter in. This is how you're gonna do this. This is what you're gonna say. Like just improvise it, but just go off this storyline, And people are like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, what am I supposed to say again? And I'm like you're supposed to say this. So it really wasn't. There was no script. It was just all improvising. And I feel like, to me, I'm more personally an actor that likes to improvise than do lines, because sometimes you'll get an actor and they're like, all right, do these lines for me. They'll be either monotone or not put emotion in it. But with improvising, you can just do whatever. You can have more of that freedom of, all right, it's coming from myself. I don't have to worry about memorizing something. And so, but yeah, it was a lot of just, in my head type thing. And and now it's this.
So it definitely very improv heavy. So when you're hiring people, you're definitely looking for improv skills. What are
Yes.
some other things that you look for when you're trying to collaborate with people?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want good actors, I want obviously people that can be reliable, because, in the hot industry, you hire people, and, they're like, oh, this is actually a job. I'm like, yes, this is a job, you're performing, and, I had some people say like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore," and drop out, which I had, especially at Shadows of Fear. But I'm looking for like a good personality, someone that has fun, that has the same passion that I do to entertain. Um, now for a haunted house actor, you don't get paid as much, and it sucks, right? But then at the same time, it's like you're doing this for the passion of it, to entertain, and have people like watch you and be like, dang, like I really want to do that, or I really want to be a part of that, which makes me feel good. And so I'm just looking for people who have the same thing as me. And this year I have like I said, I have a really good crew. Fun fact, I actually have an actress that worked at Disney World for 5+ years. So she was a former Disney princess, so she really knows how to work the crowd. So
Was
which is really
is
awesome.
that Harley Q?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, she was awesome. What's funny is the whole time she like kept interacting with me and she's like, "I really like you. Why are you so awesome?" She asked me like after the thing. I was like, "Well, I know Carter, I know how his shows work." And she's like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." Like, um and she did really good. Like her shows were like my favorite part because she like really brought the audience in. So that was just like I think that is the improvement that I saw throughout the years is it's become more and more audience driven, and that's what's turned it to, instead of just into a show.
Mm-hmm.
What made you switch from being talk heavy to music heavy? Like, what was that switch like, and was that difficult, or was that pretty easy to switch from um, really heavy talk bass to music bass?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, it was really easy for me because I'll let you know. Like, if I'm being completely honest here, I didn't really like that I was a part of the main show at Shadows of Fear. I absolutely hated it because I come out, this short king as a creepy clown, and people are like, "Oh, you're not as scary as we thought you'd be," So honestly, going from talking to music has been a really huge benefit towards me, and I prefer it that way anyway. I can't remember from media night, were we? And like I said, it was all a blur. Were we mic'd up for the Red Pool and Wolvie thing? Were we mic'd up on that?
Yeah, you're mic'd
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah. If still for me, I don't like you know being mic'd up and talking, but for that part, I was fine with it because it's Wolverine, right? You gotta have a big scary voice, and
You know the drill.
for me, when it's funny when I'm in that costume, people look at me and they're like, "Oh, like you're pretty short," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm comically accurate." That's my
Yeah.
response to that. So,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like you're actually comic book accurate height. You're only like 1 inch taller than comic book accurate
yeah,
Wolverine, which I
yeah.
think is hilarious.
I'm really
Wait,
curious to know. You do live show,
yeah,
improv based, no script. You have new people every year. That gives a lot of opportunity for great successes, but also big flops. Whether it's in rehearsals or whether it's live on stage. And live events are hard because you can't there's no going back. You just go with it. So, would you share with us some of your most memorable moments on either end of that spectrum?
Yeah. Oh, I guess let's start back at Shadows of Fear. Let's go back in time, right? Yeah, with that team. Oh man. I don't know if you guys were there when we had the Ghostbusters guy. Um, yeah, that was yeah. Just realizing like hiring, a new team. Like the only people that stuck with me from Shadows of Fear was Josiah and Jeremiah Southworth. If you remember the boys who flipped for the Helheim show, they stuck with me, and everybody else was gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously we had a few complications last year. You know, we make mistakes, we do stupid stuff, you know, especially on my end. Plus, just, you know, towards the end of the season that year, just kind of it just flopped all in general. There was just so much going on at that time. And, you know, as for me, you know, I learned a lot. And, you know, I told myself, you know, I want to eventually have a set crew where I don't have to keep hiring new people, because first of all, it's just difficult to search online for talent. You know, it's a 24/7 type thing. I got to tell you, like, you know, just looking for talent this year was go to work, come home, constant, hey, is anybody interested in being part of a frontline show? And I would get a lot of yeses, right? And then all of a sudden, like a day or two later, you know, before I was gonna send them out the rehearsals, like the rehearsal schedule and the meeting schedule, they're like, actually, never mind, I can't do it because of A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, okay. Well, you know, we talked about this, and you said you were, you know, agreeing to it. And then I get it. You know, people change their mind, especially because they think, oh, it's such a good idea to be part of, you know, this awesome new frontline show thing. And then they really think about it, and they're like, well, you know, it's haunt season and my family really wants me to be with them. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what I hear 99% of the time, because no one wants to actually work during Halloween. They just want to go to the haunted houses. Um, so with this crew that I have this year is, you know, all of them really wanna stick, and so that's what I'm hoping for. You know, but if people leave, then they'll leave. You know, I can't force someone to stay with me, you know, if they want to go do their own thing. But um yeah, the only person now with one of the brothers is Jeremiah. Jeremiah is still with me, and I've kind of made him my right hand man, because, you know, um he stuck with me through thick and thin. So, but it's like I said, it's a difficult process just to keep people and have them see what you're seeing and have them to be motivated, you know. Like, it's just I guess that's just how it goes in the work world. So
So, pretty much to recap, what you were saying is that you had a really hard time keeping the same people, and now you're at a point where you can, and that's where a lot of the blunders came from, was the keeping the people, or people being added in without you approving, is what I heard, right?
so not so much. Well, okay, I lied. This year, this year was fun. Um, you know, just same as always. You know, I hired someone on that I found at Kuahara. I don't know if you heard of Kuahara's Thriller Park in Draper. No.
I've heard the name, but that's it.
Yeah, they do a stage show over there, and one night we actually performed for them Helheim, like on a big actual stage. It was cool. It was like big lights and everything, just for fun, just to get that experience. And out of that, we met someone that was a fire person. So like they did um, fire breathing and fire swords, and he was really cool. So I ended up adding him on the team, but then he actually tried taking over my whole show. So like he was added on, but he kind of tried to move his way to the top, and I was like, what are you doing? You know, like, didn't really want you here. You know, you were supposed to kind of be more of a co-director in a sense, you know, not like calling the shots. So just like last year, you know, well, not last year, Shadows of Fear, you know, there's some people that always ask me like, hey, can I be part of the show? And just was a part of it. And I'm like, you know what, whatever. It's my first year. It is what it is, you know. But now this year, I'm really like, you know, being more stricter on the fact of like, all right, I'm gonna find a set team. We're gonna make this work. Let's see what can happen in the few years from now. But like I said, Kim actually, who was Harley Quinn, um, you know, she's really excited to see where this goes. And, you know, of course, I have Jeremiah and the Captain Jack guy, and I think I have a good team this year, so I don't have to have anybody, you know, hired on for a while, especially until, you know, we expand and become bigger and I can actually pay people more, that's the end goal, right? Is to travel to different haunted houses and be like, hey, we're a live performance. Do you want us here for a few nights? Kind of set up a little contract and kind of go from there. So that's ultimately the bigger goal right there, obviously. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, um, with being an entrepreneur, right, where you're trying to find a business, what do you think is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur in Utah?
Oh yeah, just starting an idea up. I honestly think that is, you see, I know there's a lot of people that have great ideas. It's just finding the motivation. That's the number one key, is the motivation, right? You have this really good idea and you're thinking about it and you're like, wow, that'd be so awesome. But then when it gets to it, it's hard, right? So that's when that motivation kicks in and you just got to keep at it, especially with all the downs and the negativity side of things. It's like, all right, can I push through this and kind of see where this can go? And that's what happened with me, especially over these past few years. I mean, not saying all of it was bad, but there were some moments where I was like, man, is this really for me? Like, it's tough being a businessman and being in charge of people. It's a whole different game changer. And I honestly, I learned a lot from Shadows of Fear till now, how to talk to people and how to, it's a lot of people skills and development
Hmm.
over time. And just trying to understand people and how to talk to them, and being like, hey, like, this needs to get done, instead of being, mean to them, or like being a leader in a sense. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with when they start up a business is, again, it's the main thing is motivation and just keep going. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, is the Frontline show where you're gonna stop, or what do you want to do continuing going in the future? Do you want to keep doing entertainment in this way, or where's your next step?
Yeah, honestly, just developing the Frontline show, like I said, it has been a huge hit, and I want to continue with that. And like I previously said before, I want to end up going to different haunted houses, and eventually like have a trailer and kind of like a pop-up stage, that's big enough. And then eventually, if someone hires us out like a corporate event, then we'll go that route as well and just do a regular show. So I want to kind of do in a sense of both, of frontline entertainment for a haunted house and corporate events. Um, I don't think I'll ever get to like the big circus tent, the pop-up circus tents. I mean, that'd be cool, but I don't see myself going that way. I just honestly see, presenting a show in front of a haunted house and giving entertainment that way, because it's such a unique thing. It's different.
What makes you motivated to stay on that smaller scale instead of like going to like those really big like Vegas show style? Like what keeps you where you're at, right? What keeps you grounded?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, thinking of like Vegas and all that, the big stuff. Honestly, it makes me kind of nervous. That's a huge thing. Especially for Vegas, a Vegas show. And when you go to Vegas and you see the shows, people expect like, wow. Not saying that who I have isn't like amazing, but it's like another level of wow. Does that make sense? Like,
Mm-hmm.
now with entertainment for a frontline show at a haunted house, it's kind of more relaxed. You still have really great entertainers, but for me, haunted houses will always have a special place in my heart. Like, when I was a kid, it was just like it was home. It was like a family based type thing, and that's what I really like about it, and that's why I want to continue with the entertainment for the haunted houses, because I feel like it can again just go far, and people will get their ideas of it. And I'm not saying like, you know I'm not gonna throw away people's ideas of like, oh, like, I really like what you guys did for the frontline show and I want to do something like that. And I'm not gonna be like, no, you can't do it, I'm the only one that can do it. I was like, no, like, do it, go out there and do it, see what you can do with it. And Yeah, so I mean, who knows? Maybe Shadows of Fear will want me to come do a frontline show again for them.
We'll see what happens, like
Yeah.
I think I think there's only room to go up, especially
Yeah.
like seeing how it's evolved throughout the years. We're excited. We're gonna keep coming every year and showing how it gets better and better and better and show it off to our audience and off to the world. What one thing that's amazing about the internet is it's forever.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be able to see this back when we're 80, and we'll be like, wow, that was some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so what is some advice or suggestions you'd have for somebody who's wanting to get started either doing their own show in some sort, and they're trying to get themselves out there and they're just waiting for the opportunity, waiting to bounce on that idea? What would you give the advice for those people who are sitting on the fence?
Yeah. Honestly, there's no waiting. Just go out and do it. Don't be scared because you just don't know what it's gonna turn out to be. So take that next step and go for it. And everything will turn out the way it needs to turn out to be. Like, look at me. Look where I'm at now. So I would say that's what I tell them. I'm like, there's no technically waiting. It's just doing it. Because if you wait on it, you don't do it, right? So if you do it, things start happening, right?
Well, Carter, thanks for joining us on How the Blank. This was an awesome, amazing episode that we were able to have with you, and we had such a blast. And please go and check out the Castle Cabaret at Castle of Chaos. Are you guys there every night?
Yeah, so we'll be there this next weekend. So we'll be there throughout the whole month of October. Our full shows will be on the rest of the weekends in October, and then we have a few duo nights, which Castle of Chaos will put on their calendar. So if you guys want to come see Kath and Jack and Elizabeth, or Red Bull and Wolfie, or Beetlejuice and Lydia, you can go on their calendar and see when those actors will be there that night. So if you want a little more personalization with them, come on duo nights. But weekend shows are crazy and big, and a lot of people are going to want to take photos. So if you want, again, a little more personal interaction, try to come on those slower nights.
Where can people find more information and get their tickets to come and see the show?
Yeah, just Castle of Chaos. You just go right on their website and everything's just right there. So yeah.
Sweet. Is there anything else you want to say before we end the episode? Any last
um
words?
yeah, I mean, thanks guys for having me on. It's been a blast seeing you guys again. So yeah, come see the show, and we're ready to entertain you guys. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And if you want more of How the Blank, please go to our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. And please click the bell to get a notification for every video that we post. And we'll see you guys next week.
You said not to applaud you.
I didn't say to boo me.